was tough, man. It was real hard, because I feel like we had the opportunity to play in the Super Bowl this past season. I feel like we had the guys. I feel like we had the right pieces in place. I feel like we was motivated, but just things just didn't just go our way. You know what I'm saying? A lot of things that we could have done better, and I feel like once you learn from those things, you get seasoned, and you feel like you can take it to the next step. And for us to, be motivated the way were, around that time, I feel like we even more motivated now. Just having those guys, like I said, man, having the same amount of guys in the locker room that we played with last year, they know what it takes now, and I feel like we can get over that next step.
Hello, Bucs fans. Welcome back to Real Bucs Talk. In today's video, we're going to talk about the Buccaneers defense and what Levante spoke of there. He said they're more motivated entering into the 2025 season. Obviously, last year was a letdown defensively, as the team just couldn't get it together in all three phases at the same time. They had offense, peaking throughout most of the year, and then they had their spells, and then the defense would do good. So it's just getting all three phases where they can play good collectively and more consistently. But defensively, yeah, it's safe to say it just wasn't good enough last year. There's a lot of things that went wrong for the defense. Inconsistencies on pass rush, inconsistencies in coverage, injuries all played a factor. And I think Levante was right. I mean, they had what they had what it took to get to the Super Bowl. They just couldn't make it happen in that playoff game against Washington. And I truly believe if they did get by that game, they probably would have ended up most likely in an NFC Championship game. And who knows what happens from there. Um, but again, that's in the past. That we have to move on from. And Levante spoke about that as well. But just looking at the defense, I think, key areas that must improve going into this upcoming season. The pass rush, which you enter Hassan Reddick. He's a big part of that. And Levante spoke of him, and we'll play that clip here in a little bit. But pass rush has to get better. Overall playmaking, finding ways to get more turnovers, more interceptions, more hands on balls, force fumbles, all those things I think need to go up. And then just finding ways to close out, the games. And that's been a big part of the struggles for last year in the defense. But I want to also highlight some key players that I feel are going to be very important for this team to take that next step, like Levante was talking about. We mentioned Hassan Reddick. Again, he's the big free agent signing for the Buccaneers defense. And I think he's a perfect fit for the scheme and what he's going to bring to the table. Again, he is a high end pass rusher. He's produced a lot of sacks, over 50, 59 sacks in his career. Coming in, coming into this season, I think he's going to be highly motivated and have that chip on his shoulder to show the NFL that he can still produce at a high level and earn a good contract either with the Buccaneers or elsewhere after this season. So he's going to be ready to go. And I think it's going to be awesome for the younger guys in that room and really benefit. And that's what Levante talked about when asked about Hassan Reddick and what it could do for this defense.
Could Hassan Reddick have this season?
Huge impact, man. I know a lot of people wasn't happy with what guys was doing on the outside, but I know what the guys we had, I know what they was capable of. I know a lot of different things took place. The way, a lot of it was, the way teams schemed us, not letting those guys get pressures as much. But, even though we did have a lot of pressures, but we wasn't actually getting to the quarterback, getting them down, getting sacks and stuff like that. And I think he brings a added thing to that. You know what I'm saying? Even though we have great guys already, he's just adding to the fire what we already have. And his resume speaks for itself. You know what I'm saying? So definitely excited to have him on board. And I think him and those guys will gel really well. Yaya, Braswell getting Nelly back, I think that's a great signing too as well. So just getting guys in this room and those in that room to know what it takes and know that a lot of pressure is added on to them. I think he's going to be a great fit.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. He talks about the fit. He talks about how his experience is going to help the room. And I think it's going to be a big benefit for Yaya Diaby. Him coming in here again, 2 seasons in so far. He's entering his third year. 7.5 sacks his first year. Last year, I thought he did and make a lot of improvements. He increased his pressures, quarterback hits, finished the year with 4.5 sacks. But I thought he was really coming on and really playing at a high level, both in the run and in the pass rush game. You just hope he continues to take those steps moving forward, and probably will learn some things from Hassan Reddick as well. So I think that's going to be awesome for his maturation and his ability to grow as a football player. So he's one of the guys that I think is going to be critical for this year. Another guy is Kalijah Cansey, led the team in sacks at 7.5. You want to see this guy come into his third season as well, and hopefully he can stay healthy. Like, stay healthy throughout the whole season, avoid that, training camp preseason injury, and he can start the ground running, and really be a big factor. So I think the upside for Cansey is still there. I think he still can grow into even a more dominant player. And I'm really excited to see with him on the inside, and now you have threats and Yaya and Hassan Reddick on the outside. How does that free up Kalijah Cansey? How does it open up things for Todd Bowles and company to utilize him in different ways? So he's going to be a big factor. And then we move into the other levels of defense, and I think Zion McCollum is another one that's going to be important entering a contract year. He's going to be highly motivated. I thought he progressed really well last year. This was his first time starting full time. He finished the year with 17 pass breakups, had 2 interceptions on the year, and I thought he did a lot of good things. Now, there's still things he has to clean up and overall consistency, but I expect him to take another jump into this year going in, and his ability as a full-time starter, understanding what to look for now. Really excited what he can bring to the table. So he's another one to keep your eyes on. And then lastly, Servassier Dennis. There's been a lot of hype, a lot of talk about his game and what he provided early on last season, and the Bucs, front office and coaching staff is really high on him, and they expect him to really take a step forward this off season and this upcoming season. And again, the thing with him staying healthy, I think he's past the injuries that he's dealt with so far in his career, and hopefully that's the case, because he could really be a really good player for this defense and the way they're going to utilize him, sending him on blitzes, doing different stuff in pass coverage as well. So those are going to be, cool to see. But overall, this defense, again, they are going to be highly motivated, ready to go entering the 2025 season, because quite frankly, they know the 2024 season just wasn't it, and it has to be better. And they're going to continue to add to that unit with the draft coming up. We're probably going to see more corners. We're going to see a safety, probably a linebacker, defensive line, edge. All that is probably going to be added. So makes it for a interesting offseason upcoming, and there's still more moves to be made. But right now, with what they've brought back and what they've added so far, you have to feel more, I guess, more excited with the possibilities of what they could be. With that said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Be sure to hit the like button. Comment down below your thoughts of what Levante David had to say about the defense and what he had to say about Hassan Reddick. And what's your optimism going into the 2025 season for the Buccaneers defense? Let us know. And with that said, until the next one.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And we talked about that. We had our, obviously our private defensive meetings, and then our meetings with Coach Bowles. Every time we take the field, we got to put the game on us. Every time in a situation where we can close out the game, we have to close out the game. We just have to be better. We had to be better defensively, and we didn't do our best to help us, get over, that obstacle in the wild card. And we had countless opportunities to do that, and we didn't get it done. And we know that. All the guys on defense knows that, and I feel like we're going to be better. I feel like guys are, like I said, more motivated. I have close relationships with all the guys, so we talk, and we just talk about things that we could get better at and how things are going to be different. And definitely do think we could have got our team to the Super Bowl last year, but we didn't do our part, defensively.